Gotrek Starbreaker and NC Strat game. Skaven versus Dwarves! A previously unwinnable matchup, one of the worst in the entire game. Just like of any faction versus faction, this one was the most stilted out of any, and it was in the Skaven's favor. But maybe with the Dwarven DLC plus some reworks and stuff, things will be better. For the builds, we have Rangers, who are already under attack by Wolf Rats. Gyrocopters, the armor-piercing variant, not the flamethrower variant. Then we do have some Dwarf Warriors. 4 Iron Drakes, 2 Cannons, which recently got upgraded. Wait. 4 Iron Drakes and then 2 Iron Drakes Trollhammer Torpedoes. Some more Miners, a Basic Lord, and then we have Gargrim Iron Fist. He does have the War Mourner, Words of Grimnir, but he is just anti-infantry armor-piercing magic damage. The other side for the Skaven, Jezzails. Looks like we have 3 Jezzails, some Skaven Slave Slingers, Poisonwind Globes, Deathmaster Snitch, Warlock Engineer with just Flensing Ruin, and then some Death Runners and Dogs. Straightforward build. 1 dog is actually in the Vanguard. For the Dwarves, I think they're hoping that the Gyrocopter rework will help them a little bit, maybe, in this matchup, but also the Cannons increased accuracy, the Iron Drakes increased responsiveness and ability to fire over their opponents. Iron Drake Trollhammer Torpedoes got an entire rework. I guess that's what they're counting on for this to work. And of course, Gargrim. Unbreakable Slayer hero with anti-infantry. Could be pretty good. Jezzail's fighting the Dwarf Warriors as cannons try and fire back. Both the cannons are aiming at different Jezzail teams. So the Jezzails are largely happy with how this game's starting. They're just getting free damage onto Rangers and Dwarf Warriors. But the cannons are starting to get a bit of a toll in. Death Runners find some Rangers in addition to dogs here. It looks like the Rangers are going to die rather swiftly. And there they go. The Death Runners have also taken a lot of damage, it looks like, from the Gyrocopters firing in. Death Runners are good in this matchup, but they're also pretty expensive, so any damage they take is heartfelt. Damn, that Jezzail is not having a good time being shot up by cannons. I think both the Jezzails probably have to advance much more quickly and damage the cannons. Cannon's the only real thing that can threaten them. Or if the Gyrocopters dive into melee, but you could keep some of these Wolf Rats back to counter that type of play. Especially since the Dwarves have all these Iron Drakes. Your dogs are never going to get close to the cannons, so it's not really worth it. Just leave them back as your Jezzail defenders and then use the Jezzails to shoot the cannons. Things are going about as well as Dwarves could have hoped. Not great, but I mean, it's a really fucking tough matchup, so you can take what you get. Out of the 3 Jezzails, 1 is full health, and then 2 are just below half, as the cannon's still trying to tax them down. 1 cannon's actually... Never mind, it's not a cannon, it's a Trollhammer. Trollhammer's trying to fire out in the Poisonwind Globes. They just stopped out of range, however, and the Death Runners are hidden, so the Trollhammers can't actually see them. Dogs and Slingers moving up under the cover of Gyrocopters, and 1 dog is trying to break through the formation, but they're just going to get roasted alive. The Iron Drake Trollhammer Torpedoes have high enough armor that they don't care about that friendly fire, but say goodbye to the dog. As other Death Runners are moving up. Can the fire stop them? A little bit of damage, not too much, and the Jezzails are also just fucking these guys up, but someone has to take out the cannons. Looks like Strat's just hoping to get in there with some melee units and shut down the cannons that way, so he's focusing his Jezzail fire on the weapons teams, quote-unquote, to try and save his Death Runners that way. Globes firing with the Iron Drakes. The Wolf Rats are in as well. So now the revenge of the Skaven is in, but Deathmaster Snitch takes a fight with Gargrim. Gargrim definitely gets the better of the first part of the trade. And Snitch misses him on the retreat. Looks like he's just going to try and run away. Doesn't want to deal with Gargrim right now. And the Iron Drakes are peeling rather effectively against these Death Runners, man. Where are the Jezzails? One of the Jezzails is beset by Gyrocopters. The other Jezzail is trying to save that Jezzail from the Gyrocopters, and the last Jezzail is routing. Flensing Ruin Caster's not in range, and Snitch is currently having to deal with 2 Dwarves at once. Not loving it, using his ninja strikes as to the best of his ability. He's gotten Gargrim down to about half HP, which is not bad, but still, he's losing that fight overall. Flamethrowers and the Trollhammer Torpedoes still punishing Death Runners whenever they get into the fight. And they're here at last to try and fix some things. Gyrocopters have routed off one of the Giselles. Another Giselle is back. And this Giselle is just ignoring the Gyrocopters at this point, trying to fire over here and get a little bit of help. But the cannons are still uncontested. They're still poking down those Giselles, pushing them away. Cleansing Ruin is out onto both of the Dwarven heroes. They have some spell resistance, but it's still going to be a good cast. And Snitch is just getting hit with flamethrowers as he tries to run around. He does eventually get up into the Iron Drakes, get some really good damage down with his first couple of hits. We have a lot of Skaven Slave Slingers moving up and firing in. Skaven Slave Slingers were taken in case of Slayers. They trade just super cost effectively into Slayers. But the Gyrocopters have shattered 2 of the Warplock Giselles with the help of the cannons. Before that last one is probably going to be able to peel them off. Snitch is getting sniped out slowly but surely by the Gyrocopters as he flips and stabs his way through the Trollhammer torpedoes. Gargrim is at half HP, trying to save the cannons and the Iron Drakes in the backfield. One of the Gyrocopters is finally pushed away. Another one is super, super low, but in it for now, as the third Warplock Giselle is taken offline. Cannon's getting drained down by the Warp Shard armor. That's what it is. Warp Stone armor, my bad. Warp Stone armor. The Warlock Engineer, it is just a Mortis engine that applies when he's in melee. As Snitch goes rampaging through the cannons once more. Stab and doofs. And the Iron Drakes just light up the cannon crew in the service of getting a little bit of damage on Snitch, and I can't say that I blame him. The bounce power is against the Skaven at this point. I definitely agree. We have some Death Runners that need to rally. We have some Save and Slave Slingers that need to get over here and get into the real fight, but it looks like they're trying to kite away from Dwarf Warriors at the moment. Another Cleansing Ruin is out as Snitch takes an awful lot of damage. He's super close to routing, but not just yet, as a Cleansing Ruin Overcast does hit, like, most of the Dwarven forces. Only the Lord is not in it as far as this backline fight goes, but the Warlock Engineer also takes a shit ton of damage from a point-blank Iron Drake volley. That might be the death knell for the Skaven. I don't know what they're going to do. The Iron Drakes are still just lighting up the Warlock Engineer, who's now routing. Snitch is very, very low and kiting to save his life. The Cleansing Ruin continues to just poke down Gargrim and these not the Trollhammer torpedoes. The Iron Drakes are regular. But Snitch routs, the Warlock Engineer shatters, and all of our hopes lay on 3 Skaven Slave Slingers, which is just not enough to carry this game. That's going to be a GG for the Dwarves. You gotta respect the cannons, man. After they got their buffs, they're huge now. They remind me much more of Warhammer 2 cannons, where they actually are threatening if you ignore them. Warhammer 3 cannons were just a joke. For most factions. Not Grand Cathay. Grand Cathay had, like, the only good cannons for a while. Some people will say Empire cannons were still good. Dwarven cannons were still good. I don't know. You had to put them in the exact right situation for them to do fine, and I don't think that makes a good unit. I think a good unit is one that, like, you can put in most situations and it'll do fine. And if you put it in its perfect situation, it does amazing. And that's where Empire and Dwarven cannons are at right now. Which is good. Like, they're just a unit you can usually plug 1 or 2 in and not regret doing so. Where previously it, like, you had to be fighting chariots, otherwise it was a worthless thing. Snitch and the Warlock Engineer did fine. Giselles did okay. Death Runners just got destroyed by the flamethrowers or the gyrocopters or the rangers of the enemy. And then dogs and slingers didn't have much to do, unfortunately. GG's. Another bad matchup for the Skaven. To add to so fucking many. Yeah, but boy, I don't think it's a bad match. I know. It did get better for the dwarves. That's healthy for the game. But, yeah, it's just funny. It's funny, because this is a Skaven channel, and Skaven lost, so I get to do a ha-ha. Calm down. It's fine. This is probably still a Skaven favorite matchup, but it's a little more doable for the dwarves, which is a positive. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.